Scene opens with a macro shot of a single drop of ink hitting clear water, blooming outwards in slow motion like a dark flower. The image transitions to a piece of paper, its edges singed, slowly reforming from ash back into a whole sheet. We arrive unnamed, a blank page in a vast, silent library. And the world, with its hurried hands and fleeting glances, writes upon us before we learn to write back. It traces our outlines in wind and rain, whispers our first stories in the rustle of leaves. We are poems before we are people, echoes before we have a voice. Visuals shift to a close-up of a fingerprint, its intricate whirls and lines slowly dissolving, the particles drifting upwards to become a cluster of distant stars in a night sky. This signature, the one we carry in our skin, is borrowed from stardust, a temporary loan from the universe. We think we own it, this unique mark of our being, but it was never truly ours to keep. It's just a promise, a whisper of a cosmic story we're invited to be part of for a brief, shining moment. Scene transitions to a bustling city street. The crowd moves in extreme slow motion, faces blurred and indistinct. The camera focuses on reflections in puddles on the pavement after a rain, showing distorted images of the passers-by. Every step we take is a silent sentence etched into the pavement. Every glance we share, an unfinished poem exchanged in the space between heartbeats. We move through this life as a collection of anonymous verses, our stories overlapping, our paths crossing like threads in an unseen tapestry. The camera pans across a series of symbolic shots, a single empty chair in a vast, sunlit room. Torn fragments of a letter scattered on a wooden floor, the words unreadable. A hand reaching out, but not quite touching another. We are the ghosts in our own stories, leaving behind traces that fade with the morning sun. An empty chair that still holds the warmth of a conversation, a forgotten melody hummed in a quiet room. These are our signatures, left in the margins of other people's lives, and yet no name stays. The ink of our presence always seems to run, to blur, to become one with the rain. We see a person standing before a mirror. Their reflection is slightly out of sync, moving with a subtle delay. The person raises a hand as if to touch the glass, but the reflection doesn't mimic the action. Instead, the reflection's hand is already resting against its side of the mirror. There are moments when the world falls silent, and we are left alone with the stranger in the mirror. We search their eyes for a sign, for a name we recognize as our own. Who is this person looking back, carrying the weight of all our unspoken fears and unfulfilled dreams? The person takes a paintbrush and begins to paint over their reflection on the mirror's surface, covering it in thick, dark paint. As they do, a surreal thing happens. The shadow behind them on the wall begins to paint back, its movements mimicking theirs, but it's painting a luminous, starry pattern over the person's real-world form. To know oneself is to sign a treaty with the unknown. It is to embrace the shadow that walks beside you, to understand that it is not a void, but a canvas. We try to erase the parts of us we don't understand, only to find that they are the very things that give us color, that paint us with light. The signature isn't what we write, it's the space between the lines. A new sequence begins. A hand is seen writing a word, perhaps hope or love, onto wet sand at a beach. A gentle wave washes in, erasing the letters completely. The shot is serene, not tragic. We write our truths on shifting sands, knowing the tide will come. We build castles of memory, knowing they are destined to fall. Is it foolishness, or is it an act of faith? A declaration that the act of creating is more important than the creation itself. The scene morphs. A series of old-fashioned clocks begin to melt, their hands drooping like wilting flowers, their numbers dripping down into the air and dissipating like smoke. From the smoke, hundreds of paper cranes form and take flight, soaring towards an open window. Maybe meaning was never meant to last. Maybe it was never meant to be captured, bottled, and displayed on a shelf. Perhaps it was only ever meant to be felt, a fleeting warmth on a cold day, a shared laugh that hangs in the air for just a second. A paper crane set free, its journey more beautiful than its destination. The signature isn't the mark we leave, but the feeling that remains when the mark is gone. The camera pans up from the empty beach to the night sky. The same inky patterns that we saw spreading in water at the beginning now begin to appear in the darkness, forming new, unfamiliar constellations. They glow softly, pulsating with a gentle light. What if the things we thought had vanished were never truly gone? What if every erased word, every forgotten memory, every faded footprint was simply returned to the stars? Recycled into light, woven back into the fabric of the night sky for new dreamers to look up to. The final shot returns to the drop of ink, but this time, as it spreads in the water, it doesn't just create darkness. Tiny, shimmering particles of light like stars are suspended within it. The final image is of this miniature galaxy swirling peacefully. Perhaps the anonymous signature, the invisible mark we spend our whole lives trying to write, was never a name or an achievement. Perhaps it was simpler than that. Perhaps it was the love we gave away without expecting anything in return. The kindness offered to a stranger, the silent, unwavering presence in another's darkness. Perhaps the anonymous signature was love itself, unseen, yet eternal? Fragile, yet holding the entire universe together. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing and joining our community of thinkers and dreamers. Until next time, look for the signatures all around you.